are back at it here at Fletcher House, continuing our mini-series about elevating your home using flea market finds, Facebook Marketplace finds, vintage items, antique goods, inherited pieces, all those good things to course correct some spaces where things may feel a little bit mass-produced. Now, as a reminder, last week we were in the dining room. I'll link that video in the description box below if you haven't seen that. But today we are migrating to another room we call the library. Now, we did do a full tour on this room back in October. Here's a snippet here. I'll also link that video or that episode in the description box if you'd like to see it. But specifically for today, we're going to focus on the back wall where there are lamps on tables flanking our fireplace mantle. And I have some things on the mantle that have been there since we moved in, and actually since Brad and I were married in this room. So I think it's time to freshen up the space. The first thing I did was actually take the lamps that were in our dining room and I moved them here to the library. They have more of a vintage feel. They're beefier than the smaller black lamps that I had here before. I think they'll marry better with some of the pieces we're going to use to refresh the fireplace mantle today. I love these lamps. I'm glad we get to continue to use them, and they make such a difference. They're far more substantial in this space. Moving on to the actual mantle shelf. First piece I'm going to remove is the carved wood wall art. That's actually resin. I bought it, like I've mentioned, several years ago to decorate the space for our wedding, and it served its purpose. There's nothing wrong with this piece. It's not what I want to see on this wall any longer. So I'm going to remove it. I was going to continue to use the hanging hardware, but I quickly realized it's not sturdy enough to hold what is coming to this wall next, and that is an antique window. It has diamond shaped glass panes, wood diamonds within it. You'll see in a moment. Very old, has its original hardware, even has some roping integrated in it like it was once part of a pulley system. So this is truly an older window. It's got some beef to it. It is heavy. So I'm going to work through this where I update the hanging hardware and get the window up on the wall. I'm going to omit some of this just because it did take a lot of time to drill the holes in the wall and get the anchors in, all of that. But this was a relatively easy install to do. Brad did come into the room just to hold the window in place for a moment while I could get on the ladder and hang it up myself. Hung it correctly the first time. That's true fortune, because usually I have to tweak hanging hardware and things like that. So apologies, like I have here on the screen, apologies for being out of frame, but the window went up correctly the first time, and it was only after the fact that I realized the camera had been bumped out of place. And for fear of not getting it correct again, I just left it as it is. Very easy steps from here, just reassembling the mantle shelf. Some of the pieces are staying. There's nothing wrong with them. I personally love mercury glass. I think it's timeless. So those items will stay. What I am adding as newer pieces, or at least newer pieces to the space, they're actually quite old, are some wood, like architectural salvage, preserved boxwood topiary. And then I'm actually taking some of the candles and candle holders that were at the base of the fireplace and moving them up to the shelf just to add some candlelight up at the top. In the middle, because either side will be symmetrical in terms of items, but in the middle, I do have an antique Bavarian, like a shallow serving bowl. And you're going to see here in a moment that I found some realistic looking pinnacle hydrangea blooms. So I've got those in there for now. We do have hydrangeas here at the Fletcher Garden. So in time, I think I will replace these artificial blooms for the real thing. that concludes the refresh. And here you go in terms of after shots. It's not a significant difference, right? The overall design concept, the format is still the same. I have a piece hanging on the wall in the middle, symmetrical items flanking either side, something in the middle of the shelf. But it was all very mass produced. All items I found at either a big box store or online. And now I've course corrected that balance of old and new, where things feel unique, they feel special, and it does elevate the space. Even if it's a subtle change, it still elevates this space. It feels more homey. It feels special. I hate to repeat that word time and time again, but it does feel like a place where I would want to gather, drink tea, all those good things. I think there's more possibilities here. For example, hanging wreaths on the window or hanging seasonal garland on the window. Even changing out the topiaries for seasonal items like pumpkins or holiday decor. So tell me your thoughts. Did you enjoy this simple but effective before and after? Now, rest assured, the projects will continue at Fletcher House Garden. We're nowhere near complete on this Elevate Your Home mini series. Far more vintage decor items, Facebook Marketplace items to share with you. So I hope you'll return and join us on our next project. Until then, take care.